I feel quite strange, really. It was back December in 2019 that we were last able to be together at a workshop, and of course one or two things have happened since then. In consequence of the one or two things happening, I'm required, asked, would like to indicate the precautions that we may or may not wish to take. It's been difficult because the different jurisdictions have different legislations. Different employers are requiring and allowing staff to attend meetings under different rules and regulations. So first of all, apologies for this. Most of you are well experienced in assessing risk both to yourself and to others, and therefore don't need this advice. And I know most of you know that using hand sanitizers is probably not very essential. But the one thing that we do know from all the research in COVID is that face-to-face contact in an enclosed space is the riskiest. And different people amongst our group have different risk toleration. So although many of you would be happy to not wear masks at all, what we're asking you to do is be respectful of some of our number who have a different appetite for risk and their employers' requirements and so on. When we're outside, rip off your mask. If the person sitting next to you is quite happy not to be wearing a mask and you want to talk closely together, that's fine. So this isn't prescriptive, but it's why we're doing it this way. The three of us have got these beautiful turquoise lanyards. Don't come to me with any problems and issues, because I'm delighted to say that VSG has now asked one of our members, Orney Outdoor Recreation Northern Ireland, to do the facilitation of these meetings, for which I take a great sigh of relief. And I can just point to Elizabeth here and Jane, don't know where she is, Jane over there, who've got these lovely turquoise lanyards. So if you've any problems, complaints, issues, please take them in the first instance to either Elizabeth or Jane, and they'll do their best to help you. Don't want to talk about that anymore. Since COVID hit upon us, I felt so lucky that we entered into this arrangement with Orney, because I hate to think how I would have struggled to try and arrange Microsoft Team meetings and webinars with my resources. So I'm greatly indebted to Orney, but I'm really proud of what VSG has achieved through the crisis. We were very quick to come out with published guidance, which we had fantastic feedback from, so I know many of you found the COVID advice very, very helpful. And then we launched into a series of webinars, and a lot of people were sort of getting to the point of death by Zoom and death by team meetings. And I'm really proud of people like Neil Reeves, who took out his video recorder and recorded bits to camera. Dave Liddy did the same. Many people did it. I'm just picking two names that I can remember from the webinars, who made death by Zoom so much less likely to happen by sharing their experiences, by filming themselves out on site. And the attendance at our webinars has been absolutely astonishing in terms of the numbers, in terms of the chat, and in terms of the feedback that we've had from them. So into the future, I'm absolutely certain that VSG will have changed, like most organisations have as a result of COVID, and we'll be doing a series of sort of blended combinations of workshops and webinars, and what's been very helpful and very useful, it's accelerated the programme that we had, that we're at the maximum numbers for the COVID meeting rules for this room here, but more people might want to come to workshops. Many organisations don't want people to travel, reducing the carbon footprint. So you'll see that the presenters have agreed to be filmed, and all the presentations will go onto the VSG website as a resource. So if you haven't got your login to the group's website, I urge you to get one, and again, have a word with Jane. She can sort that out with you probably today or within the next 48 hours. And on the website, there's lots of material that's restricted to members, and included amongst those materials restricted for members is access to the proceedings of our workshops. So if you're unable to attend a future workshop, you'll be able to catch up and see the presentations there. Our video webinars covered COVID, lockdowns, new visitors to the countryside, and most of us have experienced a completely new set of challenges and demands from a type of visitor that probably isn't familiar with our properties and the things that we do. That's affected how we manage risk to visitors. So people have been looking, we looked at one of the webinars at the risk control spectrum. We've been doing a lot of work about how do you influence the behaviour of your visitors, and more about that shortly. And we had a session specifically looking at open water swimming, which of course has boomed also in the last 18 months. So it's great to have us back together in this sort of forum, and what we decided we would do for this first, well, we weren't even sure whether we'd get any numbers coming to the first in-person workshop, so congratulations to all you pioneers. Certainly for me, it's the first meeting like this that I've had in nearly 2 years. What we thought we'd do is return to the sort of old basis of VSG when it started, where 8, 12, 20 people got together and spent a little bit of time exchanging information, and then going out onto one of our members' sites to have a look at issues and problems, get a bit of peer group review on the site. But mostly, the benefits of this sort of working together is exchange of information, networking between ourselves. So rather unashamedly, this workshop isn't very strongly themed, if I'm honest. It attempts to pick up a whole load of those issues that I've just spoken about that have been the COVID ones, new visitors' demands, new visitors' behaviour who aren't familiar with some of the risks and challenges of the countryside. So we're picking up on a number of those threads in the course of the next couple of hours. And then we're going out, I'm not going to call it a jolly, we've created the opportunity to lunch together, to have a splendid walk, look at some of the issues, but they're not particularly challenging issues, I don't think, Dave, on NRW's property. Really to give us a great chance to start the networking and rebuild and reconnect the relationships that have been strained over this COVID period. So with that, and a final reminder that the essence of VSG, what you, our members, tell us all the time, is the opportunity to talk in confidence, to explore issues and problems, that it won't be reported in the press. I always say this at all our meetings: respect the confidentiality of the people that are talking, because they're going to reveal things that they wouldn't normally say about deaths, injuries, things they've done wrong. So please respect their confidences. And the final thing is, my job is immensely easier because our members put so much time, energy and effort into arranging these events. And in this instance, my biggest thanks go to Dave Liddy here from NRW. I won't try and pronounce the Welsh version of, you'll be able to tell us the Welsh version of Natural Resources Wales. Many of us know Dave as Mr. Motorsports, but I don't think he likes to be known as that, and he does do things other than allow rallying on the Welsh Woodland Estate. I'm not sure what his precise title is. It's something to do with recreation specialist and advisor and safety and visitor. So toss those up, and I think I've covered his role. So over to Dave, who will take us through the day.
There we are. There's my job title. Bord ar pawb, croeso I Gymru, croeso I Ynys Mon. That's about as far as my Welsh goes, fellas, but I've got to kind of do the bilingual introduction. Welcome. Ken's already stolen most of my thunder there. You can imagine, as a part of the Visitor Safety Group Management Board meeting, we're always looking ahead. and I think we originally we would have been back in kind of February time thinking, where are we going, when might COVID finally unlock, you know, what are we going to do? And so Ken's made the point, the principal objective of setting this date and for me volunteering to be the host as Recreation Safety Advisor for Cyfoeth Naturiol Cymru was what Ken was struggling with. My principal objective was just to get this series of what I've always found very useful meetings to network with a range of health and safety specialists to get that programme up and running. And of course we'd no idea in February whether it would even take place. As the year progressed, it looked a bit more possible. It got to June, it looked like it was going to happen, and then finally in July I thought, crikey, I'd better organise something because it almost certainly is going to happen. And so I was then left with a slightly ill-defined morning session that I hope you're going to enjoy, because everybody I asked for a contribution has really happily said, oh yeah, I'd be pleased to help you, Dave. And so if the topics look a little bit scattergun, that it's because of the nature of how I organise things and the very kind responses I got from a range of people. I'd never met Helen from the National Park, who's on first, but I'd seen her all over my social media feeds, you know, because I'm from North Wales, and so she, and I didn't realise she lived as close as she did, so in terms of people travelling to the meeting, she's had less distance to go than most, so that's been very convenient. And I'd heard a lot of what Helen will talk about. Snowdonia was hugely impacted when COVID set off, and we all, it made the national news with cars parked all over the roads and all of that stuff, and Helen will talk more about that. And then more recently, well, what are we going to do next, guys? We're coming out of that. We've had a whole season of staycation, and what lessons are we learning, how are we going to move forward with that? So that struck me as a great topic, and so we can look forward to that. Emma's going to be talking about Adventure Smart. Now, Adventure Smart is something that came up into my cognizance when we held the meeting at Scarfell a couple of years ago, and Adventure Smart has rumbled on in the background, and so it's her chance from Snowdonia Active to plug that Adventure Smart campaign, and because it's about, you know, has got some great media platforms and has got some great material, I think we will all be in a good place to peddle some of the messages and good safety information that's contained in there. More recently, I've been working about doing some stuff on visitor counting, and I came across this guy, Rob Shepherd, and it turns out that he's the statistics officer for Mountain Rescue England and Wales, and I'm thinking, cool, that'd be interesting. I follow a lot of mountain rescue teams on social media, and it just strikes me, I don't know how Eldon Jones, who's here from the BMC and who's a member, was out on a rescue yesterday. I just don't know how they're keeping up. So it'll be really interesting to see Rob's presentation, who's on third, about the mountain rescue statistics and what has happened over the last couple of years. And it will be great for some of you to make that networking step with Rob. So that's me. I'm done. Helen's on first. Off we go.